Hey again, it's me. I'm Marcus. I review stuff. Today I'm reviewing Slipknot's new song, Solway Firth. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Which I believe is going to be their second single off their new album. I've already heard Unsainted so many times, and so I'm not going to be reviewing it on this channel unless somebody just really wants me to. But I've yet to hear this song, and so I was definitely wanted to listen to it and review it. And I felt, what better way than to do it on the channel before I, listen to it myself. So, pretty excited. I've been a fan of Slipknot for some years now. I started getting into kind of heavier metal back when I was in high school. If you want, I know some people are angry about calling Slipknot heavy metal. The metal purists out there. Whatever. I don't subscribe to all that. I've been a fan of metal since I was in high school. So. At least heavier metal. I've always been a lifelong fan of Metallica, but heavier metal like Slipknot, been a fan since high school, and so I've been following them for a while. I remember going to Hastings and buying All Hope Is Gone the day it came out. So pretty excited for this new album. It's today's time of recording is July 27th, and so I think their album is due pretty soon. In August, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm pretty excited. Definitely be on the lookout for an album review from me on that. And without further ado, let's listen to Solway Firth by Slipknot. I'm giving you a little build-up, okay.
Today, up on this hill, I'm counting all the killers. They sway as they swarm. A look of gluttons in their eyes. They mutter as the body loses warmth. They pick your bones like locks inside a tomb, and take great care to not take care.
A pretty interesting contrast there. I wasn't sure what to expect. It was very slow. It was very calm, very ominous, very creepy, even I would say. And then they kick you in the teeth, and they jump right into that heavy music, and then immediately you see me, I'm here rocking, and then it's all right, let's slow it down again. So pretty interesting so far. Let's keep listening.
Somebody else was
Wow. Okay. Right off the bat, let me just say a lot different sound than Unsainted. I mean, it's got the Slipknot brand of heavy metal to it, but whereas I feel like Unsainted, the chorus was very catchy, very memorable, and I see the chorus. I sing the chorus of that song to myself, just when I'm walking around doing chores or whatever, right? So, big departure from that. I feel like this is more heavy. This is more of like, I don't care about being memorable or catchy. I care about just hitting you in the face with it, right? So, I think that was pretty interesting. Overall, well, let's break it down. So, let's start with the lyrics. I have them pulled up here. Let me take a look at them again. So, the opening part that was really slow and kind of quiet and reserved and very ominous to me, it almost reminded me of sort of like a horror movie opening, was, let's look at that part. Today, up on the hill, I'm counting all the killers. They sway as they swarm, a look of gluttons in their eyes. They mutter as the body loses warmth. They pick your bones like locks inside a tomb, and take great care not to take care of you. So, to me, the killers here are people who are just taking advantage of you, right? Because it says like, they sway as they swarm. Their look of gluttons. We know a glutton is someone who can't control how much they consume. They just consume without thought or without feeling. So they're looking to consume. They mutter as the body loses warmth. As they see the person dying, they're starting to talk to each other. They pick your bones like locks inside a tomb. So, picking your bones clean as in taking the meat and the flesh and whatever else off. But again, consuming what they want, and take great care to not take care of you. So they're all about themselves. They don't give a shit about you. Okay, so then it says, here's an unexplainable one, here's an unexplainable one. While I was learning to live, we all were living a lie. I guess you got what you wanted, so I will settle for a slaughterhouse soaked in blood and betrayal. If I remember correctly, I heard a story about this band and how one of the members was unsatisfied with their monetary compensation and made a whole stink about it and ended up leaving the band, something like that. I don't know the full details behind it. Maybe when I do the album review, I'll research into that a little bit more. But I believe I remember hearing the story about that when Unsainted came out, and I feel like this might be in the same vein, where Corey Taylor here is kind of speaking out against this other former bandmate and their actions, right? They're calling them gluttonous. They only want to take, and how we were all trying to learn just how to live and how to be together, and then we were all living a lie. At the end of the day, you got what you wanted, so I'm just going to sit here in my slaughterhouse soaked in blood and betrayal. That last word there, betrayal, is the important one to me. It's a sense of betrayal when someone so close to you does something like that. So, it's always somebody else was me. You want the real smile or the one I used to practice to not feel like a failure? I feel like that one, that was, to me, when I first heard that, was a pretty relatable line. And it was also sort of kind of thematic for a lot of the albums that we've heard this year so far. I mean, that kind of, especially if you watch My Middle Kids, any of those songs or that album review, you would have seen that it's a lot of that anxiety and that putting on a mask, or I the Mask by In Flames. It seems very thematic that we're acknowledging the fact that we often put on this fake smile or this mask or this persona to hide what we feel inside. And so I think that was super relatable and super on point with a lot of music in 2019 right now. So it's pretty interesting. So it says here, I don't need you to do it for me. I don't need you to understand. I don't need you to hide it from me. I just want to feel like any other man. Now, that part's pretty interesting for me. I wonder if now he's delving more into just the thoughts of failure, I don't know, husbandry or fatherhood. I have no idea. This part really, I was like, okay, I'm not sure where this fits with what I was originally thinking, or if it even does. It could be a totally different subject here. So I won't show you the whole story. I won't show you the aftermath. I won't show you my allegory. Don't look away. Here's an unexplainable one. Here's an unexplainable one. I'm not ahead of my time. I just drew the first breath. I thought that line was really clever and really interesting. It's like, I'm not ahead of my time. I just came. I was just here first. It just happened that way, which I thought was pretty interesting. If I'm alive tomorrow, I will alleviate the pressure by cutting you out of me. I found the bottom line dead on the front lines. I know I'll never go home, so set fire to your ships and past regrets and be free. That's a lot of like poetic work going in there. So I'm not entirely sure what it means. To me, the part where it says by cutting you out of me, it's getting rid of that toxic person, right? But then he kind of goes into sort of a wartime metaphor, and that's kind of where he loses me a little bit. I'm not entirely sure what he's saying there, honestly. I don't need you to do it for me. I don't need you to understand. Go to that whole part again. Here's an explainable one. What have you done? While I was learning to live, you taught me how to die. So he mixes it up here at the end, which I thought was really interesting also. I guess I got what I wanted. Another needle in the back through purified scarification. Is that right? Or, oops. Scarification. I'm not familiar with that word, if that is correct. It wasn't somebody else, you fucking did it to me. You want a real smile? I haven't smiled in years. The moment I heard that line, I was like, that's super edgelord, but like, I'll give it to him. So, again, going back to putting on that mask or that fake smile. So, lyrically, yeah, I give it a soft thumbs up. I think it's very interesting. As I always say, I like it when lyrics make me think and make me try to analyze it, and it's not 100% straightforward, and that definitely hits this mark here. I would say the only reason I give it a soft thumbs up is because it's a little bit too inside baseball, if you know what I'm saying. It's a little bit too like esoteric for me, to where I'm not entirely sure what it's about, if anything. And there are parts that I feel like really work if he's trying to establish a theme of that story I was telling you about. But then there are parts I'm like, you're kind of losing me here. So lyrically, again, soft thumbs up. I think the lyrics are pretty interesting. They're good lyrics. The writing is pretty solid. I'm just not entirely sure how to take some of it. So that's not necessarily any fault on the writers, the lyricists, whoever, if it was Corey Taylor or whatever bandmate, whoever wrote this. And it's just kind of like a personal feeling, I guess. Instrumentally, I loved that beginning ominous sound. They kind of really slowly work you into that intro, and then even with Corey Taylor's vocals coming in, it was just kind of like really eerie. Like I said, it sort of reminds me of something out of a horror movie, where it's just you're wandering through a cemetery, and it's just very foreboding and ominous. And so I felt like that was super interesting. And then again, they just punch you right in the face. They go real hard. I like the guitar, the drums. I kind of like what they were doing there. I can't quite remember the rhythm or the melody of it, but I really enjoyed it as I was listening to it. So that was pretty awesome. Instrumental, I think it was very solid. It's what you've come to kind of expect from Slipknot. It's still their typical sound. So they start off slow, they punch in the face, and then they went slow for like 10 seconds, and I was like, oh, okay, they're going to go like back and forth. But no, they were slow for 10 seconds, and then boom, they finished it off pretty strong the rest of the song. So that was pretty nice too. I like the heaviness of it. Like I said, I like the instrumentation. The singing was great. I wish it would have been a little bit more memorable, but I'll get into that on my next evaluation. So instrumentally, thumbs up. I think it was fine. Listenability, and this is where I'll talk about how it differs from Unsainted. I feel like Unsainted is more of a radio-friendly song. The chorus is really catchy. Like I said, I catch myself singing it just randomly. I feel like this is definitely not as radio-friendly, definitely not as catchy or necessarily even memorable. Like, not to say it's a bad song. The listenability is just, it's a little bit out there to where I don't see casual rock fans or casual listeners wanting to listen to this song multiple times, whereas I can see them listening to Unsainted plenty of times. And that's definitely not a bad thing, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But for now, listenability, give it a sideways thumb. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the heaviness of it, but I know a lot of people don't necessarily. I do wish there was something to kind of grasp onto that was a little bit more catchy, but I don't think it's a bad song. I think it's for me, it's an enjoyable listen. It's not something I'm probably going to listen to every day, or even something I'm going to seek out to listen to, but it's something that I can appreciate as I'm listening to it. So, middle of the road type of thumb there. So, lastly, I was going to mention, I think it's good that it's a little bit different from Unsainted. You don't want all your songs to sound the same. You don't want all your songs to just be, you don't want someone to pick up your album and know exactly what every single song is going to be. So I think having a song like Unsainted with that really strong chorus and what they did in that song, and then having a song like this that's more of just, I'm here to tell a story, and we're here to be heavy, we're here to do what we do, I think that's fine too. So I think hopefully, I think those two pieces so far kind of fit together, these two songs. I'm interested to see how they fit in the overall structure and the overall narrative of the album. So looking forward to that. I'll probably listen to one more song from this new Slipknot album on this channel. I'll review it on the channel, and then I'll go and listen to the rest of the album on my own and give you a full album review. So be on the lookout for that once that new album drops. So thank you for watching. Of course, if you want to support the artist, listen to their music. I'll put the official video in the description. Go buy their album, listen to it on Spotify, wherever you guys listen to music. Go support the artist. If you want to support me, of course, you can always like the video, subscribe, and do all the YouTube stuff. You know how it goes. So again, I'm Marcus. I just reviewed a song, and I'm out of here, guys. Have a good one.